Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Johanna and welcome to my cozy book space. Let's try this again for the second time. Did I first film this wrap up in slow motion, no audio? Yes, I sure did. You would think that I would learn, but clearly, I do not. Let's do this. I read around 10 books, I want to say, in the month of May. 2 books more than I thought I was going to read, so it was a really great reading month. So let's get right into it. First book I finished in the month of May was Vows and Ruin by Helen Schur. This is the second book in the Legends of Desmar series. I gave this book 4 stars. I really loved it. In this story, in this fantasy world, we have a female main character who wants to become a war sword. And in this fantasy world, there is a prophecy that a woman who picks up a sword will bring upon this war. And so there has been this rule in this fantasy that women are not allowed to wield a sword. So that is the whole premise of this romantasy, if you will. In this second book, we get more of the trainee-trainer relationship between our heroine and our hero. I loved seeing that dynamic. I loved seeing them kind of fight that tension and forbiddenness. I just love the journey of this book. There was development between the relationship as well once they kind of got over them being apart. The ending, I did not see that coming. I was so shook. I mean, throughout this world, we were seeing things come to light and learning a little bit more about what the plot was going to be about and what the war was going to be about. And it was just overall entertaining. Honestly, I loved it. I did in fact continue in the series this month, so we'll get to that one in a second. Second book that I ended up reading in the month of May was Hellbent. This is book 2 in the Alex Stern series by Leigh Bardugo. I gave this book 3.5 stars, but I rounded it down to a 3-star. Honestly, I truly enjoyed the first book, which was Ninth House. I was really wanting more romance in this fantasy world, and so I was intrigued enough to continue into book 2 because I was thinking that maybe we'll have a little bit more romance. Sadly, even though I still enjoyed this book and I enjoyed this book for what it was, there was no extra romance, so therefore I enjoyed it a little bit more than I did the first book, or it was kind of equal, to be honest. I don't think that I will be continuing in the series because I don't think this series is necessarily a romance, and there's no like specific like even crumbs of romance. I just have found that I'm not this type of genre reader. I enjoy them, but I would honestly rather really enjoy seeing like a TV show or a movie about this story and this genre in particular. With Hellbent, since it's book 2, in this one we kind of are in the search of the person that went missing in book 1, and our female main character has to travel to hell to do that. Next book I ended up reading was Direbound by Sable Sorensen. This one is book 1 in the Vows and Ruin trilogy. I believe it's going to be a trilogy, don't quote me, but I do believe so. For this one I ended up giving it 3 stars sadly, because I just, you hear dire wolves and you hear wolf bond and training academy and all of these things and amazing romance, etc., and you want to dive into this book. And so I fear I went into it with really high expectations. My main concern when I first started this book was the writing, and I wanted to connect to the writing. So in this story we have our female main character who ends up joining the army during the wolf bonding season. She was unaware of this, but she has to go through this bonding trial. She ends up getting a wolf and she joins this army because she wants to find her missing sister. And this is basically the main plot in the story, as well as our heroine trying to survive the training academy. She also already is in a relationship at the beginning of this book, and she stays into this relationship from the beginning till like the 95% mark of this book. And I think overall that was my biggest gripe with this book. I hated that relationship. One, because I didn't like the nickname. It was so cringe, and I think it was giving cringe because we all know collectively that he is not the hero. There is another man in this book, and there are moments and scenes in here that you are just foaming at the mouth for, and it was so good, and I wanted them to be together so bad. Or even then, like, I didn't even need them to be together. I just needed that other man to be out of the picture. He was so annoying and so cringy, and a lot of spice, okay, between those two characters that are not even endgame. So it was just overall annoying in that way, and I hated how long it took for our heroine to open her eyes. I also, with the writing, I expected a little bit more more connection to it is probably me personally. There's a certain type of writing that I just truly in my heart connect to, and not everybody of course has that writing, and I felt like this one was giving a little bit more of a surface level, as well as it depicted the heroine in this like sassy manner and just kind of sarcastic manner, if you will, and I just didn't connect to that either. So overall, I enjoyed this book. I enjoyed it enough to read and continue on in this series. I will be finishing the trilogy because I am just so enamored with the whole wolf world. I think that was one of my most favorite parts, as well as the ending of this book was one of my favorite parts, which makes this book have that 3-star. I even may say 3.5 stars, because that ending is pushing me to continue in the series, and the wolves are what are continuing to push me to finish the series. I also very much recommend the audiobook for this series because I really appreciate how the female narrator does Anasa's voice, Anasa being our female main heroine's wolf, and her voice is just so regal and so classy, and I absolutely loved it, and I just enjoyed listening to this book for sure, rather than sitting down and physically reading it. So I do recommend it. If the premise of this book sounds interesting, I might be in the minority that just kind of felt mid about it, but there's also aspects in it that I truly love. So I'm a little disappointed because I wish that I could love it more than what I am feeling about it now. Next book I ended up reading was The Deal by Elle Kennedy. I actually did a reread of this. Upon a reread, I gave it 4 stars. I ended up doing a reread because I want to watch the TV show. Have I watched the TV show? I have not, but I want to. I will. Maybe next weekend. I have a really long weekend next weekend, so maybe I'll watch it then. Anyways, besides the point, this is The Deal. This is off-campus book 1. We have our female main character. She is your smart singer in choir type of heroine, and then we have our hero. He is a hockey player. He ends up failing this class, and he realizes that our heroine actually aced this class, and so he badgers her to tutor him until she agrees, and they kind of come into this agreement that they will fake date so that our heroine kind of gets the clouds from our hero, so a boy that she actually likes pays attention to her, and our hero of course will be getting tutored by our heroine so he can ace this class and continue to play hockey, and of course they fall in love along the way. I really enjoyed my audio listen of this book, and I think it's a solid contemporary sports romance, and I'm excited to see the TV show. Then I ended up reading Immortal Dark by Tejas Skirma. This is book 1 in the Immortal Dark trilogy. I gave this book 4 stars. I truly loved it. I think this is the perfect read to read kind of in the fall, in that dark academia type of vibe and mood. So in this one, we have our female heroine. She is human, and she is actually trying to kill and find out who kidnapped or killed her sister. So she has an inkling on who it is specifically, and in this fantasy world, we have these vampires, and they're vampires, but they're different, they're unique, and I really love that the author made them unique and made them their own. But they all belong into houses, and these houses are kind of sentient. The humans, our heroine, are the ones that are owners of this house, but the vampires can become owners of this house as well if the humans do not want to own this house. Our heroine ends up joining this academy to find said person she thinks is the suspect, which so happens to be our hero, and he is a vampire, and she basically hates him from the jump, and it is definitely enemies to lovers. This is a slow burn. I loved the plot and how kind of fast-paced that was. I love that the heroine didn't put her mission on the wayside when she went into this academy, and there's definitely deeper things and deeper prophecies and stories going into this trilogy, and we are just at the tip of the iceberg in this one. Overall, I enjoyed and was entertained by this book. I did also listen to the audiobook, and I thoroughly enjoyed that as well. I think this had the perfect vibe and the perfect atmosphere, especially if you're a dark gothic academia girly. I definitely recommend this one. I loved the romance. It was obviously one of my favorite parts. Like, some of the quotes in here were absolutely stunning and beautiful. The writing I loved. I connected with it. I loved, again, the uniqueness with the vampires. Like, every area they bite and drink from will give them like a secret from that specific human, and it was just so good, girl. I ate it up, and I definitely will be continuing in the trilogy. I left this book with so many questions, and also the relationship is kind of on the open end, and I am just so excited to dive into book 2 and learn more about the history of this world and the different vampires, and also kind of get some more information about our heroine's sister and so on and so forth. So I definitely recommend this. Is definitely hyped for a reason, and yeah, I can't wait to read book 2. I then ended up reading A Fate of Wrath and Flame by K.A. Tucker. This is the first book in the Fate and Flame series. This is a 4-book series and I definitely will be continuing. I gave this first book 4 stars. In this one, we have kind of a past prologue where we have this witch who ends up having her husband put under this spell in this eternal sleep by this god, and now she is kind of in service to this god and has been doing his tasks until she proves herself to the god so the god can bring back her husband. Now we move into the present world and we have our heroine who is a very good thief. She's actually working with not so savory people. She's just very good at her job. We have this witch who enlists our heroine to kind of go on this mission to accomplish a specific task, and this task is set to bring this god back to life. And so we have our heroine who is your modern day human girl, okay? And she is actually thrown back into the past, very, very much past, like think knights and lords and kings, okay? And she kind of has to navigate her life in that past reality. She's thrown into this body that belonged to someone else, but it actually looks like her body. She is actually, oh my god, just like so many things happen, you guys. Like, how am I supposed to explain this? Because she goes through so much shit, but I just want to commend our heroine. I truly love her because she was not no damsel in distress. She honestly took everything and was smart about it. Like, she is in a body in this world and she just kind of keeps her mouth shut, learns what the vibes are, and proceeds accordingly. And then there's the king, who is our hero, and he was betrayed by our heroine, but it was a different woman before our heroine inhabits that body. So there's like this betrayal aspect and this like yearning. It is so good. I loved the slow burn of the romance because of said betrayal, and you just learn so many things about the world and the prophecies and the gods and like what are the gods' plans. We have amazing side characters. We have little missions that our heroine is going on. We are learning and finding out different things with our heroine. It was just so entertaining, so fun. I love the romance. Again, like I said, a romance will always push me along, but this one is definitely a journey. Like, this is just the tip of the iceberg as well with this first book, because so many things are open to us as readers and not all of them are answered, and we are kind of left in the romance aspect where it's open-ended and our characters are kind of split apart. They are each going on like different missions, and I'm just excited to continue in the series. Oh, I also wanted to mention that there are fae, vampire, all types of different creatures in here as well. So I really thoroughly enjoyed this. Again, I need to continue in the series before I forget everything about the first book, but we'll see when I get to it. I ended up reading Next to You by Hannah Bonham Young. This is book 2 in the next series, and I gave this one 5 stars, you guys. For a romance, this was absolute perfection. I absolutely loved it. Next to You really redeemed Hannah Bonham Young for me, because the first book that I ever read by Hannah Bonham Young was a little lackluster for me, but this one I was just like, oh, I see why y'all love her so much, because now I love her so much. I love this book so much. We have a heroine who is damaged and has some trauma when it comes to losing her dad, and she is still dealing with that grief and how she feels based off of what happened. She ends up meeting our hero at this, I believe, New Year's Eve party, because our heroine is the heroine of the first book's best friend, and the hero is the hero from book 1's best friend. So they meet at this party. They have this insane like chemistry. They obviously connect and kind of get each other, but our heroine kind of fucks it up a little bit where the hero kind of gets confused and it just doesn't go anywhere from there. They actually become friends, and so we jump into the future where they have spent so much time together, but just as friends. They are only friends. So this is definitely giving like friends to lovers. Our hero is just a pining king, okay? He yearns for this woman. He just wants to provide her with everything that she could ever want, and we come to this situation where they end up being like friends with benefits, but they are slowly but surely like gaining feelings for each other. I loved that aspect of it. The mouth on this man, even though he's kind of shy, he's kind of cutesy, he is so in love. And the things that he says, that he wants to be the provider, like if she needs it, he will give it to her, okay? And I ate it up. I love me a provider man. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I truly love it. Yeah, this was giving 4 stars until the end and a couple specific scenes. The scenes between our heroine and the hero's family and all of that, and kind of that sense of peace and tranquility, weight lifting off of the heroine and just all her burdens and all of those things. I loved that scene. I loved how she was surrounded by love from the hero's family. Obviously, that one first moment where the hero is like, I will give you everything that you need. If you need your needs satisfied, I am that man. I will give it to you. Yep, that scene lives rent free. And then the letters. The letters at the end, you will always get me with some sort of letters, okay? Letters will always get me. I don't know what it is about them, but oh my gosh, just those three things makes this a 5-star for me. Obviously, we have a third act breakup because our hero is so selfless. Like, he gives so much of himself, but nobody ever puts him first. And our heroine tries to put him first at the detriment of the relationship. It makes sense because she is trying to give him the best of what she thinks is the best, and he just loves her and wants her, and he wants to be selfish and have her. It was so good. It was so good. Perfect. 5 stars. I ate her down. Loved it. Then I did a reread of Does It Hurt by H.G. Carlton. I ended up doing a reread because I was trying to decide whether I wanted to keep or unhaul the physical edition that I own. Upon a reread, I gave it 4 stars. I believe when I first read it, I gave it 5 stars. I was handing out 5 stars willy-nilly, okay? But I gave this a reread and I did it through audio, and I did enjoy the audiobook, but I don't see myself ever rereading this for a third time, which should tell you that I did in fact unhaul this book. So I loved this. I still love H.D. Carlton's writing. I think my main issue upon my reread was that I didn't connect with the heroine as much as I wanted to. She was a lot more sassy and kind of just out there. Was it sassy? She was just kind of sarcastic and sassy, and it just didn't hit because it was just so different than what I thought the heroine was like in my head. Of course, the hero, he's hot, he's broody, he's mean. There's obviously scenes in here that live rent-free in my head, and the spice in here is absolutely crazy. I also loved the mystery and the plot with the lighthouse and how they get stranded on this island and them having to figure out how to get off, and just everything that the plot entails. I found very entertaining. Of course, it's dark, so definitely check trigger warnings. I finally read Heated Rivalry, you guys. I sure did. This is actually book 2 in the Game Changer series by Rachel Reed. I ended up reading this because I wanted to watch the TV show, but I had to obviously read the book first. I gave this 4 stars. I loved it. I just love Shane and Ilya. I do. It was just, I mean, of course. Of course. Like, what do you mean? We basically have 2 hockey players. Ilya, I believe, is bisexual, but obviously he's in the closet because there are no out gay players. And then Shane is actually a gay awakening. He's actually only ever been with women, but then he ends up having this insane attraction with Ilya. And this story, this first book, takes years. Like, their relationship is years, and sometimes they only see each other like once a year, like maybe twice a year, and sometimes they don't even have their like fun sexy times where they actually connect and build their relationship. Like, their love just spans a lifetime, okay? And I loved seeing them connect through these moments that they had for this period of time. It was just such a sweet romance. I do love me my baby Shane. He is so sweet, and Ilya, he is just so hot and sexy, and he is just that guy, and he is dealing with his own like familial issues, and he is from Russia, so it's a lot more difficult for him to be out and gay. And then we have Shane, who is coming to terms with his sexuality, but also coming to terms with that he is falling for this man that is his rival, essentially, because this is like a rivals to lovers. I loved it. I will say I did watch the TV show and I absolutely loved it as well. I think they really did 100% so well with the TV show and the book, because I want to say it was like 99% accurate. Like, everything that I read in the book, main scenes, dialogue, all those things were like honestly so accurate. Like, I was so surprised with how accurate it was. Like, they didn't even change anything. Like, I don't think they added anything, and I don't think they changed anything. It was just so accurate to me personally. And yeah, I can't wait to read The Long Game, which is, I believe, but maybe not, because I know there's another book in the series that's supposed to come out, but I believe The Long Game is where we get their official HEA. And I know a lot of people sob their eyes out in The Long Game, which I don't know why. Don't tell me. I kind of want to go into it blind. And I do believe season 2 is going to be about The Long Game. I have to get to that, of course, before season 2 comes out, which I don't even know when season 2 comes out, but I will most likely read the second book, The Long Game, when it's closer to the release of season 2. So that might be a while from now, but I'm glad that I read it, and I'm glad that I watched the TV show. It was absolutely worth it. I ended up reading Crossed by Emily McIntyre. This is actually book 5 in the Never After series. I was just picking this up because I want to finish the series out, and I did at some point. I did finish this entire series, so props to me. In the Never After series, we basically have each book is based off of a fairy tale, and villains get their HEA. And this one, we have the Humpback of Notre Dame or something like that. Girl, I've never seen that. I've never watched it, so I don't even know. But we have this dark romance it is dark romance, so definitely check trigger warnings. We have a heroine who is from this small town, and she's kind of the outcast, and she works at this strip club where she dances. She's doing that on the side so she's able to support her little brother who has special needs, and her mother kind of left her with the burden of her little brother, and her mother is literally like, you know, a character you hate so much that you just kind of want to kill. Yeah, that's her mother for you. Then we have our hero. He is a priest, but he's a dark priest, okay? He does go around killing sinners. Our heroine literally being a sinner. He doesn't know why he is so attracted to this woman and why he like low-key wants to kill her first, but then something happens and he just kind of can't kill her. Like he is so intrigued by her. So this starts off the relationship like it's definitely very forbidden. It's also very slow burn. I think this is one of my favorites from the Never After series. I gave it 4 stars if I didn't mention that already, but I think it's one of my favorites just because I love when religion is brought into a romance because of the way that authors have this ability to write religion into love and how we take the worshiping of a god and transfer it into like worshiping of this woman that you love. And I thought that Emily McIntyre did a really good job doing that because some of the writing in here, some of the quotes, like this man, this priest, this dark man will do anything and everything. He will commit every sin in the book to protect and to love this woman. And who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want that? Like literally, he is so down bad and he loves her so much. So many moments in here that I absolutely loved. And when they did finally get together, it was explosive. It was so good. I also really loved the special needs little brother. He was so cute, but this small town was just so judgmental and so mean. But I loved how the hero protected not only our heroine, but the little boy as well. Yeah, I think it was overall just the right people, the environment and where they are from just did them wrong. You know, like their upbringing and where their environment was just absolutely trash, but they are there for each other and they choose each other every single time and they are meant to be, and I loved it. I then ended up reading Fate and Furies by Helen Scher. This is book 3 in the Legends of Thesmar series. I told you guys I continued the series. I gave this one 4 stars as well. I loved it. In this one, we have our heroine is betrayed, so she's on the journey to find our hero to bring him to the king so he can be judged for what he did in book 2. I believe in the first section of this book, they are apart for, I believe, more than a year. And just seeing what our heroine becomes in that year and how kind of, not bitter, I don't think bitter is the right word, but how broken she is because of our hero, but how strong she becomes because of our hero and the things that he's been doing in this year apart. And she still yearns for him and she still loves him, but she is so betrayed. And I just loved it. I love a little sprinkle of betrayal in there, but I love when they get back together, you know? Yeah, so in the beginning, we have this journey where they are apart, but once they get back together, we obviously have to have our characters learn to trust each other again. I love the way Helen Scher writes because you just feel for our characters, and not only was it the hero begging for forgiveness, but it was also the heroine having to apologize to our hero for not trusting him. Trust goes both ways. Yeah, once they get back together, they are planning for this war. Now our heroine knows basically almost everything, and so her eyes are wide open, and we have different battle scenes and we have training sequences. There's just so much that happens in this 3rd book, and our heroine also ends up meeting the Furies and going through her final training to officially become a war sword. And that trial thing was crazy to me. I just love fantasy. Like I just love fantasy romances specifically. It was just so entertaining, so fun, and I just loved it. That ending, the cliffhangers. I'm just so glad that I am reading this when all the books are already out and this series is complete, because I just can't imagine what I would be doing if I had read each book when they were like waiting for the next book to come out. I couldn't do it. These cliffhangers that Helen Scher does at the end of each book is absolutely crazy, but I loved it because I could jump into the next book immediately. I can't recommend this series enough. Last book I ended up reading in the month of May was Fake It Till You Bake It by Jamie Wesley. I ended up giving this 4 stars. This is a solid 4-star romance. I think it's more so giving like 3.5 stars, but I'm gonna run it up to a 4-star. In this one, we have a heroine who was on a dating show. She ends up saying no to the bachelor, if you will. This has caused some controversy in the public eye. eye, so she gets a lot of hate. And then we have our hero who is a football player, I believe, and he actually ends up opening and owning a bakery shop with his two best friends. His bakery shop is not necessarily going so great, and when the heroine comes into his bakery, she ends up giving her opinion, and our hero is just like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean? Like, try one of these cupcakes and tell me how you really feel. So they definitely have this banter that I really enjoyed from the beginning. Our heroine and our hero actually end up fake dating so that the heroine can build her reputation back up with a public eye and stop getting hate. And then our heroine is bringing publicity to this bakery and helping it become more than what it is. And so they kind of strike up this bargain. I think the thing that I loved the most about this book is also the thing that pissed me off about this book. The thing that I really loved is that our hero and our heroine, when they have these scenes where they have to communicate with each other, they do so. When they're fake dating and they start to realize that it's getting a lot more serious and they're actually having official real feelings for each other, they actually sit down and communicate those feelings to each other. I was like, okay, period. And then there's like this other scene where these outside characters are trying to take them down, and so they come together and they take down those evil side characters together because they communicated with each other and told each other what is happening, and they were able to deal with it together. Now, tell me why there was actually a third act breakup. This book could have done without one, because why are you telling me that they were able to communicate in these two other instances, but at the end of the day, they let their insecurities come in the way and they didn't communicate about it, and they ended up splitting, and they were like apart for like 3 months, I want to say. I could be lying, but it felt like 3 months. Okay, I just didn't think that it was believable for our characters not to communicate till the end, because what do you mean you are communicating and acting like adults throughout this entire book, but at the end you're gonna have a miscommunication trope? Like, it just didn't feel real to our characters and how they were from the beginning. So that was my biggest gripe with that book. Overall though, if you're looking for a contemporary romance with some fake dating, if you live for that, love it. There's also a lot of like baking in here and like cupcakes, and just it will make your mouth water. I loved it. It was so good. I enjoyed it for what it was. I definitely recommend. Those were all of the books that I ended up reading in the month of May. I had such a great reading month. I thought I was gonna read a lot less than I did because it was such a busy month for me, but let me know what your favorite book in the month of May was, and if you don't want to comment any of that but you want to let me know that you made it to the end of this video, then go ahead and leave me a cupcake emoji down below in the comments. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.